Hello creative ones, this is Robin Dudley House, the Artsy Bohemian, and as promised I am doing another part of the tutorial for the altered file folders. So I kind of cheated and I put some things together just so this would go a little quicker because to be honest with you, putting these together, each one individually, takes a little bit of time. And so I didn't want to spend all that time looking around my studio while you were watching. So I kind of put together a little collage, and I am going to explain to you why I do what I do. Part of all of this is just like anything, you just have to practice quite a bit before you kind of get the hang of it. And my collages tend to be asymmetric. You can do symmetric, which is a lot easier because everything, you know, there's a centerpiece and then there might be two pieces on the side that mirror each other, and then it's on a, you know, background that is, you know, one sheet of paper. You can make everything very symmetric. But I'm going to show you how I do my collages. So first thing you want to do is, you know, in the video before I had explained all the things that you needed to gather. So I'm just going to go briefly over that. So this has already been cut in half. It's just a file folder. And what I do is, what I really do is I will take these file folders, dye them in the coffee that I had explained in the other video of how I do the process that I do. Once they're dry, I will cut them in half and they'll look like this. And then I will sew them. So for this one, for example, I would probably sew it on both sides. On this one I didn't because it's one of those ones that expands. And I kind of like how it's a little bit bigger. Either one will be fine. They both will work as long as you don't make the journal that's going inside, as long as it's not too fully loaded with, you know, ephemera and you know, 3D objects. So this is kind of what it looks like if you sew it on all sides. And I just suggest that you sew it as close to the edge as possible, probably about a 1/16 of an inch, actually maybe an 1/8 of an inch to the edge, just so that you can get your journal in there. And on that note, I was thinking, well, maybe you could glue it if you don't know how to sew, but that might not really work. It might come apart. You might be able to put washi tape on the sides to reinforce it. If you do, I would just put glue underneath it, and it would be a different look. Or obviously you can staple it. That's a whole other look too. That looks kind of cool, more industrial looking. So I'm just gonna go over the basics, like I was telling you, the formula that I use. So here's a little collage I put together, but I'm gonna put that to the side for a sec. Thanks for all your nice comments, you guys. Look, a few of you asked about the bows that I use, so I'll show you how to do that. They're, I usually use the rayon ribbon. It'll come to me in a minute. I can't remember the name of it, but everybody uses it. So, or sorry, silk works too. So we're gonna go ahead and start with this, and I realized that I've run out of this is the only one I have left. This is a smaller glassine envelope, and it's pure white, but you can make it, you can distress it, and I'm going to show you how I distress. You can also use a larger one. It's just that it's going to take up more space, you see, like that. But I'm going to just use a smaller one here. So for distressing, I just use any brown ink pad. I don't really pay attention to who it is, but any brown ink pad will do. I also use, sometimes I use this kind of a mustard color ink. And the way that I do it, I used to teach on a monthly basis at my house, a rubber stamp club. I was a demonstrator for Stampin' Up, and so every month I'd have classes at my house. I did that for several years. So what you're going to do is get a sponge, and these are little circle sponges that I cut in quarters. You know, the Tim Holtz dauber thing works too. So you're going to just rub the sponge. I do this kind of in a circular motion, and I hold the glassine bag down, and I do this. This is the same technique I use for everything that I distress. And I just kind of hold it and kind of rub the edges from the outside in. And I'm just going to do the edges because I'm cheating. I don't need to do the whole thing because only the edges are going to be showing, if at all. So that's the first thing. I always put a glassine bag underneath, and I got that idea from Lori Fusco because she does that a lot. I love the look and the feel of the glassine bags. Plus, it adds another cute little envelope, so you can put, you know, tags in here. Put another little notebook, you know, notepad or whatever. So that's the first thing. I always do glue this onto here, and in regards to glue, I don't glue everything right away. I kind of wait because I don't know if I'm going to have it, you know, to the side or if I'm going to keep it straight up and down until I put my collage on. So I don't glue anything. And speaking of glue, the glues that I use are tacky glue, and I like hot glue guns. And I use them. I'll show you how I use them, you know, in regards to why I use those two different glues. So, okay, so that's that. I'm gonna try to get this done in a half an hour because I think that's all my video will do, is a half an hour at a time. So I'm gonna take this apart. I'm gonna deconstruct this and kind of show you what I'm doing here. In my opinion, the more layers, the better usually, because it kind of gives it a 3D effect, even if it's not, you know, completely lifted. So I started this one with a distressed doily. This one's been coffee dyed. And then I added that one element. Remember I was telling you in the other video, if you have scraps, just go and start a bunch of, you know, just sew a bunch of scraps so that you have them. And this just happened to work out for this. So I'm going to put this to the side. From a design perspective, typically what I find that I do, and I kind of do it unconsciously now, is there's a way in art where you're going to be making sure that the viewer's eye is going to go from one point to the other, and mine tends to kind of go in a really soft S. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I kind of leave areas in the right hand corner and the bottom left hand corner a little bit blank so that your eye can kind of go this way. And I always use one focal, and I always pick a color scheme. So if for instance, this is all muted. Most of the components are neutral color and distressed or old, and I like that kind of creamy look. And then there's going to be pops of color. So in this one I have pale mint and some kind of a corally looking pink. So I'm not going to stray from that. I'm not going to put blue in there or something else, because it just distracts from what you're trying to achieve. And then the other thing that I kind of did this ahead of time was I had taken a Xerox copy of one of these birds from an old nature book, and I cut it out. I fussy cut it out, and I just colored it a little bit with some ink. Same process where I just kind of went like this. And I didn't color the beak. I'll probably do that later, but I had crumpled this up ahead of time. So just like this, some old a book page. So it kind of gives it a nice distressed look. And then I just placed the bird. I glued the bird down with some tacky glue on here, and crumpled up some more paper on the bottom here. So we have a nice focal to start with, and I'm going to do that thing where this one I think I want some of the doily to show on either side, and I also want some of the color to show. So can you see how I'm kind of stacking it? So my eye, it's almost like stairs going down this way. Think about the fact that you're going to have the doily flap, so you're going to want to make sure you bring this down so that it doesn't cover the things that you don't want it to cover. And then what I did, here's a scrap from an old ledger, and I like the the old writing on there. It adds another neutral color, but it doesn't distract too much from the overall composition. This is one of those yo-yos that kind of is picking up the color scheme that I was talking to you about. And always some kind of cute little ticket. I think these were from some scrapbook company. I can't remember where I got them, but I like using numbers. So even if you have old bingo papers that have the numbers on them, you can cut those out. Even I love the numbers on old ledger papers, so if you can kind of tear those out and just kind of stick it somewhere, they kind of tend to look kind of cool. Also use rub-ons if you have rub-ons. And then I thought I was going to put a pink bow on her, but I decided that's just too much pink, and I decided to I made a little bow out of silk ribbon. When you're working with small things like this, I stay away from organza or synthetic ribbon, you know, the really tiny ribbon that you can buy at hobby stores, because it doesn't lay right and it doesn't have the right, it's too opaque for me, and I just like the way that the silk ribbon looks like. And this is, you know what it is. This is really old. I don't even know if you can even buy this anymore, but you might be able to check this out. It's Bucilla ribbon, pure silk ribbon, and this is 4 millimeters. And I have this in lots and lots of colors. In fact, I wanted to show you, this is something I had made when I was talking to you about how I have little boxes and containers for things. This is something I made. It's a cigar box, and it just makes me so happy when I open it, because this is where I keep my tiny little special ribbons. And it opens up like this, and I made little pockets up here so I can put little more fibers, and then I have all of my silk ribbon right here, and some fancy ribbons right here too. I got this idea to make this from oh gosh, her last name, Dawn Edmonton. And I love the way it came out. It's just like I said, it's a cigar box, and it has, this is something everybody's seen this probably before. You can download that on Pinterest, I believe, and then just trim on the sides. But if you know, it's kind of fun to have little containers like this, because it makes it special. When you open it up, it's kind of exciting, you know, to create. So anyway, so instead of putting the pink, I decided to put a little green. I really actually wanted to put aqua, but I didn't have that. So so the next thing I'm going to do, and I didn't do this yet, and you can tell I haven't glued anything down, because I'm not exactly sure if this is how I want it to be, is I went to Hobby Lobby the other day, and I'm a sucker for these old stickers. I have way too many stickers. Let me know in the comments if you have way too many stickers. I just love them. So I thought, gosh, these would look pretty. So I think I might put this little postcard on the bottom over this. And I also wanted to make a cute little crown for her. I'm not sure what her name is, but I'll show you how I make a crown. So let's see if this works, and if it doesn't, I'll just stick it back on. But I think these were on sale. I think they were half off or something like that. Oh, and it's kind of cool because it's see-through. Okay, I think I like that, so I'll just go ahead and do that. So think of things that are transparent and opaque when you're putting this all together. The doily is transparent because of all the holes. The paper on top of that, it's just a little, you know, pop of color, and it has that hand-sewn element on there, which gives it some more texture. And then we have there's, you know, a little peekaboo throughout here so that you can see what's going on underneath. And I kind of like this composition. Feel free to copy this. The best way to get good at this is just copy those people that you really admire. And I hope you admire this. I don't know if you do or not, but I'm going to make a cute little, let's see, maybe I'll make it out of this. So I want to put a little crown on her head, and I'm just going to use some old book page, and I'm going to just cut out a crown. Let's see. Maybe we'll make like a little arch so it kind of fits on her head properly. And they'll probably be really long. I'm not sure if this is going to be good or not, but I'm just going to cut little turrets and make a crown. I think I might make it a little smaller. Oops. This is so old, it's pretty brittle. A little bit smaller. Okay, so I'm going to use a little tacky glue. Also, if you like this video, just like it and then subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and just comment below what you like best about this, and also if you have questions, if you have more questions. So I'm going to go ahead and glue everything down. I think I'm going to glue this with tacky glue, just because it's kind of hard to control the hot glue, you know. And tacky glue dries pretty quick, so isn't she cute? Okay, so this one, I think I have decided that I like the bag straight up and down. I mean, I could do it this way too, but it looks like, oh, that already stuck on there, so that's already decided that's going to stay there. And I like the way that looks. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start just tacking it down, all the glue, with some a hot glue gun, and then I might go back in and like glue it down with some of the tacky glue. Okay, so what I do is I just kind of hold it, and I might just add some glue here. All this does is just keeps everything in place so that I can go back in and glue it some more with some of the tacky glue. So this way I don't have to take everything off and forget what I did, unless you have a camera and you just take a picture of it. And so I'm just tacking it down. And I think that's all tacked on there pretty well. Okay. So what I'm going to do when I glue the whole piece down, I'm going to glue this down. I don't go to the very edges of the bag, of the glassine bag, because this is going to be kind of full, and the bag is kind of hard to open and you don't want it to rip. So what I'm going to do is just going to take some tacky glue and just go, you know, maybe about a ½ inch on the sides and in the center. And this is, I'm going to measure it so you get an idea. And you know, it can be a little bit bigger, but this one is about 4 3/4 by, I don't know, probably 7, and that includes the flap. So from here to here it's 6. So just remember to put it down lower here so that when you put your flap on, it's not going to cover all this up here. I mean, it'll cover a little bit, but so that's one collage. And so now what I do for the flap, and I'll show you the flap and the bows. So we're going to take the that strip that I showed you of the doily, and I usually don't make it straight across. I kind of put it at an edge like this. I kind of like the way it drapes, and then I'll cut it with some better scissors. Gotta have fabric scissors and paper scissors for this project. And I didn't really put any lace on here. I guess I could. I didn't really think it needed any, but maybe I will. I don't know. I might put it up here. Kind of like it up there. So what I do is I'll figure out how I like it, and I think I like the way that it looks like this. And I will, let's see what else I'm going to put on here. I like these colors that are very creamy looking. I'll just stick it on there. Might make it a little bit longer. Actually, I might add something like this too. So you can keep adding, you know, if you feel, you know, it's not going to hurt usually to just keep adding a few little pieces. I might add some more little bits of the of lace on here in a minute, but let's see if this will work. This is that long piece. So I just want to make sure that there's enough to sew on the back. And I always stamp them first. I forgot to tell you. People that buy from me want me to sign them, so I've gotten in the habit of doing that. I never used to do that, but they like them to be signed. So just think about that and, you know, put your name on there. Oops, I think this went this way. Oh, no, it didn't. So I'm going to just kind of set it there. I'm not gluing anything or sewing anything just yet. And I might put this there and then maybe this here. And I think that looks pretty good. So what I will typically do is I'm just going to cut this off. And I'm not going to show you this because I can't bring my camera over to my sewing machine. You don't have to sew this. You can glue it. There is a nice element to the sewing. It looks kind of cool, but it doesn't have to be sewn. And if you can't sew and make these ruffles, you can glue it with hot glue. You can make a ruffle and then glue it, and then ruffle and glue it. It's a little sticky and a little dangerous, but you can do that. So that I might put that there and just kind of stick that there. And the other thing that I always do is I put a little button. And here's my little bowl buttons that I showed you in the last video. So I might hook it there. So I always put a blasting envelope, a button, and some kind of ticket, and then either old book pages and a doily and maybe some lace like it explained before. And let's see here. I might do one other. I might just add a couple more things and then yeah, just leave a comment below. Tell me what you liked about this, and like I said, if you have any questions, just you want to make sure that you don't, it looks like I probably glued the bag onto the okay, there we go. I might do this. One thing I've learned is you just don't think about it too much when you're placing stuff down. Like I'm just adding this here, and You know, some people could like go back and forth and, you know, wait till overnight to like make the decision, and if I didn't like it, I could just cut it off. So I think I'm going to be okay with that. So this is it. This is how I make the altered file folder, and I hope I didn't forget anything. Let's see. Yeah, this one has quite a bit going on it. I am going to show you how to do the bow, don't worry. But, so what I'll do is I'll sew this down, like right here. I'll pin it usually. I'll pin this knowing that that's exactly where I want it. I'll go to my sewing machine, sew that down, and then I'll come back and I will just take hot glue and just put one little dab here and one little dab there just to hold it in place. Then I'll go back and sew this on in the back, just like this. So they all are sewn on there. So you can tell that it does help to have everything available, ready to go, in, you know, little compartments, little bags, little boxes, so that you have all your stuff and you don't, you know, have to spend hours and hours figuring out what you're going to be using. Okay, so the bows. This is another little baggie. I got this at a thrift store. I thought it was so cute. This is where I put my bows. So what I do is again, it's very mindless, so I just make a bunch of them so they're ready. These are all neutral colors, and these are the ones I typically use. If you have a bow maker, you can use that, but I'm just going to show you how to do it with your hands. And where did I put my... Oh, here it is. So here's some sari silk, and this is going to be... I think this will look nice with this. This is kind of a pinky mauve color. I learned how to do this from One Lucky Day from Paula. I don't know if you guys know her, but if I remember, I'll put her link down below. She's the designer for Tim Holtz, and she had a little tutorial on, she always makes these bows, and she showed how to make them one time. So really what it is, and I don't know how long this is, I don't measure anything, so you're just going to take, it's going to be at least maybe 2 feet, I guess, I'm not really sure, but I just use it off the roll, I don't cut it. So you're going to take and you're going to make sure, this is going to be the tail. You know, that'll depend on how long you want it. You can make it really long if you want to, but I tend to make mine a little bit short. So you're going to gather one loop there, one loop here, and you're going to do this 3 times. So there's 1, 2, and then 3. And so you get this nice fluffy bow. Then you're going to go back and you're going to tie it right in the middle. I'll show you one more time. Let me just tie this first. So I'm going to cut it so it looks like that. And this is already wrinkled. I'll show you a little trick to wrinkle it more. The Snug Hug, that's the name of the rayon. You know, everybody uses that. Snug Hug rayon bias tape or ribbon, whatever you want to call it. So you're going to tie that in the center. I tie it loosely until I know that it's in the center, and then I really give it a good tug. And that's all you do. So, oops, I'll show you one more time. I just pulled one too tight. Okay. So, just take the ribbon and do one fold here, 2, 3, excuse me, 2, and then 3. So you're gonna do it 6 times, 3 on each side. And this one's a little smaller. And then just tie it in the center. When I taught my stamp club, it was so funny. There was a gal in there who called herself Bow Challenged, and so I would always tie her bows for her, and I wound up actually tying bows for everybody because they were bow challenged. It's just a matter of, you know, practicing like anything else. No, I don't know where the end is. Oh, there we go. So I just loosely tie it in the... Okay, so that is how you make the bows. And I went ahead and sewed this on here. Actually, I didn't, not yet. I glued it. I'm going to sew it. But I did sew this on here. So you can see how it kind of has this nice drape here. And I'll probably, I don't know, put that there. I'm not sure if I like that color. Let me see what else I have here. I might use that. I think I like that one better. And then I just hot glue it on there. Just make sure it doesn't stick to the back. Our fingers become numb, don't they, doing this kind of craft? You can touch hot glue. So, I am done with this. Again, let me know what if you have questions, if I forgot something. And I usually try to answer all the questions and make a comment below your comments, just because I like to make sure you guys know that I care about this, and I really enjoy sharing, and I hope you enjoyed this. I will show you, the next video will be of the traveler's notebook that goes inside, and that will be it. And I do hope that you check out my Artsy Bohemian online school. I am teaching the French Bohemian Travelers Junk Journal. It's going to be opening March 21st, and I have lots of bonuses for my Bohemian people. If you want to check that out, feel free. It's going to be packed with information, and there's usually I charge $135, $125 for the class that's in person, and the online class is a lot less than that, and it's good forever. And you can watch it in your jammies and eat cereal if you want to, and just keep rewinding certain spots. I'll be just showing you how I do a junk journal, and there'll be added bonuses, like how I paint roses, and we're going to go over 2 or 3 different ways to use wax seals. And so there's going to be extra things in the online class that I can't teach in person because it would just take way too long. So I thank you for watching. Thank you for your sweet comments, and I will see you in the next video. Just remember to subscribe and like this video, and turn the bell on if you want to see the next video that comes after this. Thank you.